Hi all. So today we'll continue with this triggers topic. So triggers also stored procedures and also it will automatically invoked whenever DML operations are performed by against the table or view. They are stored in the user underscore triggers system table. They are used to impose business rules, user defined restrictions on table columns. So why we use that trigger means to impose the business rules or user defined restrictions on the table columns. They provide high security on tables. So triggers affects only those rows which are added after it's enabled. Constraints affects all the rows that have been exist before and after also. That one newly added to the rows that also affect the constraints. But whereas triggers, it will affect only those rows which are after adding the trigger, whatever the data we are inserting on the data only it is going to work. Triggers are created to control DML operations, security purpose, and for auditing purpose, so implement business rules purpose. There are two types of triggers supported by Oracle. One is statement level trigger, and another is row level trigger. In statement level trigger body is executed only once per DML statements. In row level triggers, trigger body is executed for each row and every DML statement. Okay. What is the difference means? Statement level means DML operations for all the DML operations it will execute for once, whereas in the row level it will be executed for each row of every DML statement. Syntax means how will you create the trigger means you can use this syntax create or replace trigger name before or after. Okay. So there will be before or after insert update or delete. So trigger can be created before insert or before update or before delete or after insert or after update or after delete of columns on table name for each row. So when condition, if condition is true, trigger is executed. So this is the trigger specification and this is the trigger body. So declare variable declaration begin execute statement exception execute statements end. Okay. So if you mention this is the whatever in the square brackets, these are all optional parameters. Okay. So for each row means it is a row level trigger. So if you remove this for each row, it will become as a statement level trigger. So trigger parts and trigger events. So what are the trigger events? Indicates when to activate the trigger. So here before statement or row level, insert, update, delete. There will be 6 events. That means before having the insert, update, delete, and after having the insert, update, delete. So total 6 events it will come. And after also we'll have this after insert. Like this, okay. So this is before statement level, statement and row level, it will be before statement level. So you have insert, update, delete. After statement level, we have the insert, update, delete. Total 6 events here. So same way, after statement level or after row level, we have the Before row level, insert, update, delete. After row level, insert, update, delete. So this is having the total 6. Altogether, we have the 12 events. Okay. So out of the 12 events, so you can use any of the events, or you can use the all the events at a time here in this before insert, update, delete, or even if you want to use the before insert and before delete, like that. Whatever the choice is your requirement, based on that requirement, you can use the statement level or row level. So row level trigger is activated for every row manipulated by DML statements. So for the statement level trigger is activated only once for the one DML statement. So what are the trigger restrictions? So it's supposed to stop the trigger execution based on the condition. So trigger body means a set of PLSQ statements. That is, here what are these are called as a trigger body. Okay. So I'll create some of the triggers and we'll test it. So create or replace trigger TR1 before update on EMP1. Begin DBMS output dot put underscore line of records are updated. So we are creating the trigger on this employee table. So what is this? So before update on EMP1 table name we are giving only on the table name here. This is the statement level trigger. So TR1 already exists on another table. Okay. So we'll do TR1 underscore 0905. Okay, create or replace trigger TR1 underscore 0905. That means whenever any trigger is already used on the table, you cannot use same trigger on another table. Okay. So now what I will do, so I have created the trigger. Okay, compile this. So I'll check this any. So this record is having this salary below 1625. So I'll update this salary. Update EMP1 that salary is equals to salary into 0.1% or something. Where salary less than 2000. So that means wherever the salary less than 2000 is employee is there, for that it is going to update this salary is equals to salary into 0.1. So one row got updated. Did we get anything here? So we are not connected DBMS statement. Okay. Okay. So now I want to update this. Okay. I didn't get anything. So I use this. Set salary plus. So I'll use the update EMP1 set salary is equals to salary plus salary into 0.1. Or you can say salary plus 1000. So what will happen now? So existing salary this much. So it will be added with the 1000 here now. So then it will become as a 1062. You can check this. So 1162. Okay. Previously it was 162. We have added 1000. So 1162 it got updated. And when you see here, when I updated here, I am getting the records are updated message here in the DBMS output. So how I am getting? So because we have written the statement, this is the trigger, create or replace trigger, TR1 underscore 0905. So simple, records are updated. When it is any update statement is there. Suppose when it any delete is there, what will happen? So it won't work for the delete until you have to provide the delete statement also here. Before delete or before update, before insert, we have to mention here. But for this trigger, we have mentioned only update purpose only. So that whenever any update in this table, so you'll get the message stating that records are updated. Check this table whether how many records are there now. So only 9 records are there. So for this record black, I will update TMP1 that salary is equals to salary plus 500, where minimum is equals to black. So now one record got updated. Here if you see records updated and check this table. So black salary is increased 8,500. So that means you can use the triggers for the updation. Whenever any update is there, you can using the triggers you can send emails also. But for that you have to configure your email settings and you have to provide email logic in this trigger here. While creating the trigger, you have to provide some logic so that it will be trigger an email. So that anybody changes the or any update is there on the table, particular table, you will get notified. So trigger firing sequence. So how it will be fired? So before statement level, before row level, after row level, after statement level. In this order, it will fire the sequence. Trigger will be fired in this order only. Suppose we will create a table with this XX underscore student underscore 0905. So serial number, SNAM, date of joining, result, varchar I am writing here. So these are the columns I have taken. I created the table. So what I will do, I will create a sequence also. So create sequence log underscore SQ underscore 0905. So one table created, one sequence also created. Now I will create a trigger on this table. Create or replace trigger ST underscore BA underscore statement level and 09 I am giving. Before insert on our table name, that is XX underscore students underscore 0905 is the table name. Begin when you are creating this trigger, so we are using the before insert on this table. So that means whenever you are inserting any record into this table, trigger will be fired. So that is DVMS output out put underscore line of statement before insert. So we are creating the sequence number here. Log underscore sequence underscore 0905. This is the sequence we are using. So that is statement level before and now it is statement level after. So for that I'll create one more trigger on this table. Same underscore 0905. So 09 only I'm giving. And this is the sequence, same sequence I am using. So create a replace trigger st underscore statement after insert. So 09 I am using. I am creating this second trigger. So now I am going to create one more trigger, not one more, two triggers, that is low level. Low level before insert, that is 09 I am creating, and this is the table name. On the same table name I am using this one. So in which order it will be fired, for that purpose I am creating these triggers. Okay. Now what I have done, so four triggers I have created. One is statement level before insert. So another is statement level after insert, and row level before insert, row level after insert. So four triggers I have created. So when I insert a record into table, how this sequence will be fired? That sequence we are capturing using this sequence order. Okay. So row level before insert, and here it will print the sequence order. Okay. So what I will do, I will insert one record into this table. Okay, begin insert into XX students 0905 serial number, S name, date of joining, result, 4 columns, values 1A, to date of 07 January 2022, pass. Okay, some date format I'm inserting into this table. So this is the table we are created here. Serial number, S name, date of joining, result. For that 4 columns, we are passing the 4 values here. So now what it will do? So it will fire the triggers. 6 triggers are created now. These 4 triggers will be fired. In which order you can verify this one. So only these triggers are created on the insertion only. That means when you are inserting any record into table, that trigger will be fired. So first it will fire a statement before insert 1. After that, row before insert. After that, row after insert. After that, statement after insert 4. Okay. So that means in this order, only sequence trigger will be fired. This is called as a trigger firing sequence. So before statement level, before row level, after row level, after statement level. This is the same order it is printed here. So this is the requirement. Suppose you want to restrict the users not to perform any operations on the employee table. So write a PLSQ statement level trigger on employee table not to perform DML operations in Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So this is the requirement not to perform any DML operations on the employee table. How can we create that? Using the trigger create or replace trigger tr2 underscore 0905 before insert or update or delete. So this is the requirement here. Not to perform DML operations. DML operations means insert, update, delete, all three. So then how we are creating this trigger? Create or replace trigger, trigger name, before insert or update or delete on EMP1. Begin if took care of sysdate comma dy in Saturday or Sunday. Then rise application error. So now today is Friday, so I will take it as a Friday. Okay. Friday, comma Sunday. If it is Friday or Sunday, then it will be a rise application error. So we cannot perform DML operations on this. Here you can say Friday and Sunday. So normally Saturday and Sunday it will be there, but as for the testing purpose, I am changing this to, instead of Saturday, I am changing this to Friday. Okay. So now we are creating this trigger. So trigger is created. Now I will try to insert into this EMP1 table. Insert into EMP1 employee number, employee name values 100 Rohan. Only this two records, two values I am passing to this table. Then I am getting the, we cannot perform DML operations on Friday and Sunday. So like this, you can restrict the user not to perform any operations on these particular days. So you can use the triggers. Suppose if you try to update any update EMP1 set salary is equals to salary plus 3000. Okay, I'm trying to update the entire table, then it will throw the error. Right? What is the error? Update EMP1 not properly ended. 70 plus. Okay. So update EMP1 set salary is equals to salary plus 3000. Then I'm getting the, we cannot perform DML operations on Friday and Sunday. Okay. Error during execution of the trigger. This is the error message it is showing line number 3. Okay. Same way, you cannot delete also. Delete from EMP1. So I'm trying to delete everything. I'll clear this one. Same, we cannot perform DML operation on Friday and Sunday. Suppose if I change this to Saturday. Here also Saturday. Then what will happen? I will recompile this one. Okay. So I will try to insert this one. One record got inserted. And also update also it is working. So 10 rows updated. It's saying 10 rows updated. Okay. So you can check the table. Select star from EMP1. So all the records it is there. And salary increased 3000 here. Okay. Now I'll execute this update statement. What will happen? Again, it is going to update. And here if you see, this Rohan also it is in salary. Why it is not updated for this? Okay. So we are dealing with this here. What we are doing here, already null value is there. And what is happening here? The salary is updating only for the wherever the value exists here. So for this Rohan, I am unable to update this salary. What I have to do? So I have to use the NVL function. NVL of salary plus 3000. That means if it is salary exists, it will be added to salary plus 3000. If the salary is null value, then what I have to do? I have to use the this value. Wherever the value it is there, so then it will be salary will be added, salary plus 3000. If salary is null, what will happen? It will be become null, so that this value will be considered here. Now this got also updated here. See this. Previously it is not updated. Why? Because already salary it is having the null value. So when you are adding the salary plus 3000, so it is not updated because of the null value. So that you have to, while in the real time also have to be careful. There may be chances of getting the null value, so that you have to use the NAL function in the update also. So wherever you are using any arithmetic operations, then you can check this NVL function, because there may be any null values is there. So that also have to be considered. So what happened now? So because if this trigger is only performing on the Saturday and Sunday, so we are now able to update. But when we are changing to Friday here, then we are not able to update this table. So like this, you can restrict the user to not to do any operations on the weekends. So same way, you can have this multiple examples here. So write a LSQL program to statement level, trigger on EMP table, not to perform DML operations on the last day of the month. So last day of the month means, so how will you identify that is the last day of the month? So there might be some function it is there, that is in the functions time I have explained that one. So that is last day of this date. This function returns the last underscore day, date or given date. What it will do, it will get the last day of the month, that is 31st May. Suppose if you are giving any particular date, then it will, for that month, it will get the last day of the month. So based on that function, so we are creating the trigger to create a replace trigger AR2 underscore 0905 before insert or update or delete on EMP1. Begin if this date is equals to last day of this date. Then that means these both are equal, then rise application error. So then on the last day it will not be allowed to perform any DML operations. Same way we have the, already we have seen that Saturday, Sunday. So that can be used any. So write a program to perform. So write a PLSQL program statement level trigger on EMP table not to perform or authorize to perform DML operations or not to do any modifications in the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So for this, you can have the trigger, create a replace trigger, TRG underscore EMP underscore details check underscore 09 MD. Before update on employees declare permissions denied exception. This is the exception we are defining here, user defined exception. Begin if trim of took care of sys date comma day in Saturday and Sunday, then rise application error. So instead of Saturday, I'll write Friday here because today is Friday. Here also in the employed table, I'll use MP1 there. Okay. So this is the exception, user defined exception permissions, denied exception we are using. If trim of took care of sys date comma day, I'm verifying the day. In the previous example, what we verified here, weekends. Okay. So not to perform on the weekends, and one is last updated. If you see here, here we are performing if took care of sys date comma dy in Saturday, Sunday. Means 3 characters only we are verifying here in the weekday name. So coming here, we are using this DAY. There we are using DY only. So DAY means complete name of the week. Okay, took care of sys date comma DAY in Friday or Sunday. Then write the application error. Okay. So based on this, you cannot do any operations on this. Delete from EMP1. Why? Oh, sorry. So I have given only update here. Okay. So only update, then it will not allow you to do. So I'll change this before update, insert or update or delete on EMP1. And I'm changing this trigger. Now I try to delete this one. So then it is throwing the error. Okay. Exception error it is throwing. Okay. Trigger is not allowing to do DML operations. So third time is when you compile this one, so what it will do? It will allow you to delete this one now. So same thing, delete from EMP1, then it is able to delete. But I'm using rollback to get back data. Okay. So next, row level, or one more example for this statement level. What I will do, I will update this updated table. I'll create one more table with the different columns. So create table XX student underscore 0905. This serial number, primary key, S name, workout of 50, not null. M1 marks, check marks between M1 between 0 and 100. M2 also between 0 and 100. M3 also between 0 and 100. Total marks, check total between 0 and 300 only. Because we are taking the three subjects here. So altogether if you total, then it should be equals to between the 0 and 300 only. Same way average also. So average also between the 0 and 100 only should be there. Because when you add the three subjects divided by 3, then it should be below the 100 only. So that I am checking this average. And result varchar to check result in pass or fail. So this is the table I am going to create here. So now the table got created. So when you, after table creation, I am trying to create a trigger on this. So in the trigger, what I require, so I want to calculate the average total. Okay. So and also update this in the columns. Whenever I insert a data for this columns M1, M2, M3, automatically should calculate the total, average, and result. Okay. So how we are creating the trigger is create or replace trigger tr1 underscore 09 I'm giving. So after insert on XX students underscore 0905.